Okay, guys, so here we are. I'm joined by Mr. Silk, Dr. Silk. I'm, of course, Troy Francis. And what we're going to be doing now is looking at an infield that we recorded last night, actually, here in Warsaw, when Dr. Silk went in and spoke to two girls in a bar. Okay, so we're going to play the infield and we're going to go through it and break down a little bit about what's going on, the dynamics sort of behind the scenes, if you like. So here's the video, and without further ado, let's start playing it and we'll go through it. Okay, so this is when you're about to make your approach.
Excuse me, girls. I have a question, basically. Are you guys from here?
So without, and as I said, the risk is always when we do these breakdowns that we end up analysing every single sentence. But but it's interesting. You start off by saying, "Excuse me, I have a question."
Yes.
Are you guys from here? Okay. Is that what you normally do? Is that how you'd advise guys to, in your method, how to start this kind of thing?
Specifically when I'm coming to a set of more girls than one.
Yeah.
In a bar setting, I tend to go in with sort of a curiosity about the environment itself.
Yeah.
In order to make it quite relevant, situational based.
Okay.
So the most relevant thing here to speak with those two girls that actually was quite busy in their own interaction is to ask them, I have a question. So that is actually one of the best thing you can do when you want to go to that kind of set. And just to point out, the girl on the right is the target.
Fine. In the stripy shirt.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Right. Let's carry on.
Okay. So I'm just curious about one thing. I will just sit here for a short time. Okay.
So you pretty quickly say, "Oh, I'll just sit down for a short time." You do a bit of a false time constraint.
Yeah, and I think that's very important in the beginning for them to have a sense that I'm not going to be there for the whole evening. I'm just going to go there because I'm quite curious about this place, about the surroundings, and I just want to have a minute to speak about it.
Yeah.
And have in mind that the reason I'm doing that is to be able to open a two-way communication. And once I open a two-way communication that is based on curiosity, then the time just flows by.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, specifically, like exactly the first second of the approach, most of people in general, they have that sense of time feeling, like, oh, is this going to take a very long time?
Yeah.
Or what does he really want to do? And once you just mention that I'm going to sit there for a short time,
yeah,
they will feel like, yeah, but that's no problem. So what do you want to have to say?
Yeah, and absolutely. And another thing to bear in mind for guys watching this is that this is all very, very simple. It's very low key. But, you've walked up to two girls in a foreign city you don't know, and you've started a conversation with them, which is, like, I think most guys watching this are going to want to be able to do something like that. So let's go on anyway.
Do you guys think that this is the best place to be in terms of pubs today?
This one?
Yeah, on a Monday.
I mean, it's Monday, so you don't have super many options, but in general, I wouldn't say that this is the best ever.
I like the way you said it, not the best ever.
So if you start like Thursday, Friday, it will be nicer. Okay,
yeah, exactly. And
depending what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm looking for bar because I'm like a bar guy, sort of.
Bar, but like, so you
for today,
if you think we should skip forward or something.
Monday, like Warsaw is like still on the party mood, but are you looking for like the talk kind of?
Okay, so what I did here now is actually one of the key elements of things, and that is I want them to tell them what they think about things.
Right. Okay.
Because as long as you have a genuine curiosity about what they think about the environment, the city, the place they're sitting in, then something magical happens, and that is when they feel heard, they feel like they have something to contribute.
Yes.
To the interaction. Yeah.
So super important to get them talking about how they feel about the particular thing, whatever that subject is.
Absolutely, and also be genuinely curious.
Yes. Okay.
Like, what are you looking for?
No, like a bar like this, but not only this bar. If there's any other, similar type of bar around, maybe there's better than this.
We are better than this. Yes.
Yeah, because it's Monday.
Yeah, what we love very much, I don't know if it's your style, but what we love very much is like more of the secret bars when sometimes you have to go to the
easy bars.
Secret bars. Oh, speak easy bar. Okay.
Like this hidden bars that sometimes you have to like ring the door number 1, for example, and somebody opens the door and it looks like an apartment, but actually it's a bar. So those places are the best.
Yeah.
But I think they are not open on Monday, right?
It sounds like you like illegal places, sort of.
I mean, we come from here. I mean, my sister actually, she lives here.
Okay, so one thing that's very important here is like when you want to come in with sort of a banter and make it quite playful, you just doing it from the reflection of what they just said. So there's like jokes and being funny with substance instead of just taking something out of thin air and make it funny.
So you're saying, it sounds like you like illegal places, which is quite funny, quite challenging. It's sort of almost positioning her as maybe being a bit of a naughty girl as well, which is obviously
sort of absolutely
a little subtly, which is always a good thing. Right?
It's almost like planting a seed for further more plainness, sort of.
I'm not living here anymore, but I'm pretty beautiful, I know a bit, even better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Places, so maybe you can ask her even better.
I'm checking, I checked bedroom balance.
Is everything closed?
Yeah, it's closed.
Do you have time? Like, how long are you in Warsaw?
Oh, I'm going to be here for maybe this week out, so I'm going to be here for a while.
Then, okay, we can give you some names, but maybe try Friday or Saturday will be easier, or even Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. But out of curiosity, what do you guys think about this bar?
It's nice, but there are nice places.
No, exactly. I think they are nice places than this, but it's not bad.
Not bad. Okay, but you told me that you think this bar is nice.
It's not bad.
It's not the best. I think it's a nice bar too. I mean, I like the atmosphere. I like the vibe because there's quite many people here. But could you help me to understand what you mean with nice?
Like nice, I mean there are so many options of alcohols. You can have actually whatever you want. But I prefer like those kind of speakeasy bars. Yeah.
Okay.
So at this point, you seem to be you're clarifying what she means by nice, because she said it's a nice bar, and then you're saying, okay, but what do you mean by nice? So why is that an important thing to do?
Because there are actually two ways to see it. One thing is to really show that you're curious about what she actually says.
Okay.
Because if you said that this bar is nice, I'm just wondering, but what is nice about it for you?
Yes.
So that is one thing. I'm showing her a genuine interest.
Yeah.
And also I'm showing a genuine interest for myself because I'm curious about what she actually means. So the key to ask that question is for me to understand what she actually means, and that is the type of mindset that I have to have when I go into that kind of interaction, because then I can be in the present, and that is so important, to be in the present.
Right. Okay. Good stuff.
From this place, you are checking the marketing or something like this. I cannot believe that you are the private person.
Yeah.
You are from here, right?
No, I'm not from here. I'm not from here.
Sure.
I'm from listen, I'm from Gdynia.
Virginia.
Oh, so I'm from Gdynia.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Originally, where are you from?
I'm from Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah, but I look Asian, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like Japanese Korean,
Oh, really?
but I was born in Sweden.
Korea, South Korea?
Yes, South Korea and Japan. My father's
I
from
went
Japan.
to Japan and South Korea.
You did both of them? Oh my God, what do you think about those places?
I love Japan. Okay.
So another thing that is very important here is like when they bowl over to me and asking me questions, I want to answer them, but in a very concise manner.
Okay.
Because if you're going to talk more about yourself, the more energy it takes from the actual interaction.
Okay.
So it's more like if you're going to talk about yourself in a concise manner, it gives very much value. It gives them a lot of value because they know something about you, but they can only comprehend, that kind of information in a concise manner.
Okay.
Because according to scientific studies, we can definitely see that the brain is only wired to hear things, not really to listen about things. And when we are wired just to hear things, we can only do it in a very concise manner. So that is what I did here because people in general are not school listeners, because that is a skill that you need to learn with intent. And therefore, I just going to give the information so they can hear and comprehend what they're hearing. That's
Okay. And is it also because it's more important ultimately to keep the focus on them rather than on you?
You have
So
to
they're
give
talking about themselves than-
more, absolutely, and
Yeah.
I'm giving them my undivided attention, and that is what fuels my confidence and power as well in the interaction. So when you look at it so far,
Yeah.
one of the main key and one of the most powerful skill I actually apply in this interaction is actually to be quiet and pay attention.
Okay.
That is like the number one skill I use in here. Not the playfulness, not the wittiness. It's just sit there and don't say much and listen with curiosity,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
then reflect back on what they are saying. That's the key here.
Good stuff. Okay. And of course, most people just aren't doing that.
No, definitely not.
It's super nice.
Wow.
I've been to Tokyo and Seoul. Seoul is also nice, but I don't know, I prefer Japan.
Yeah, but now when you mention Japan, I mean, because when I'm thinking about Japan, I'm thinking about Shibuya district, lots of bars, lots of pubs,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I'm thinking about, like a different kind of culture than here. It's like a big contrast between those two. But I'm curious, like, what's going on in your mind when you went to Japan and you be there? What was the number one thing you were thinking about when you were there?
I was a bit overwhelmed about people and number of people and shops and crowds and so on. But still, it was interesting for me to be a part of be there temporarily because that was my business trip, so I didn't have much time to explore the city, but still I could see something. So yeah, I was a bit overwhelmed. Honestly.
So what you're telling me now is that you really love Japan because it has so many activities to do over there that you just became completely overwhelmed. Is that what you mean?
So comparing with Japan.
So just on that note, so that is you're clarifying what she's saying, right?
Yes, or no, I basically paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing what she's saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And why is that important? Why should guys do that?
It's because to emphasize the understanding that I understand her,
Right. So
or want to understand her.
okay.
And
so-
that is like a subconscious thing that you actually going to grasp. She don't think about I'm doing it. She just grasping it, almost like
Okay.
a swamp
okay.
collecting water, sort of.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And again, I think most of us probably don't do that unless we consciously think, with intent, we think about doing it, because most of us should be like, okay, I was in Japan on a business trip. We're like, oh, right, okay, yeah, cool. So what did you think about the food? Or so, we move on, and we wouldn't probably act not or paraphrase in that way. So that's something definitely a learned skill.
Definitely a very learned skill.
Yeah.
And also, what we can see here now, the reason why they're talking so much about what they think about things is because I see I put the seed in that way.
Yes.
And this is exactly the interaction that I enjoy a lot. I'm just being myself. I'm just listening to what she has to say. I want to reflect about what she thinks about things. I want to know more about certain area of what she just said because I'm curious, genuinely curious. And the genuinely curiosity of me being in her is actually the power that gets me going.
Absolutely. And by the way, it's worth mentioning that all of this is generating conversation, because, like, of course, what happens a lot of the time for guys is they'll walk in, they'll start talking to the girls, and they'll sort of run out of steam, they'll run out of things to say. But using these techniques, it's generating a longer conversation,
Absolutely.
which is in itself is a valuable thing, because you want to be there as to build up a vibe between the two of you.
Absolutely, in a very genuine manner. I'm just being completely myself.
Yeah.
And the mindset I have here is being more myself than I've ever been in my entire life. Just being the person that is curious about the girl I want to date.
Yeah. Cool.
Down to Seoul,
Gangnam district.
Korea.
Yeah.
I prefer Japan,
Okay.
but I know, like, when I'm thinking about living there, I think it's too overwhelming, especially Tokyo. Yeah?
Okay. So what you're telling me is, like, it's good to go to Japan just for recreation, like a tourist,
Yeah.
but to live there is just too many people, isn't it?
Too many
Like
people,
too much going on,
And
and
I think, you work, people in Japan work too much. I think it's better to be in Europe.
So it's not enough work-life balance.
Yeah, it's not enough for me.
And by the way, it's worth mentioning, if anybody walked past now and saw this, it would almost look like you guys have known each other for years, or like it's a very, very comfortable conversation, isn't it? It's not some weird, slightly awkward, creepy, like pickup scenario. Like anybody just walking past who didn't know that you just approached them. They would just assume that you guys were like friends, or you know, maybe you're dating one of them or something.
Absolutely. And one thing I can mention here also is like, even though it seems for untrained ear that but this is just a normal conversation, like two people having a, you know, like a normal chat, the science behind what I'm doing, the framework that I am applying from theory into practice is heavily used here.
Yeah.
And this interaction that we have now, making them talk about things so much that I cannot even, you know, like it's almost like I have so many, you know, ways to go with that interaction that is basically unbelievable. But this is just my normal, you know, like day by day conversation now, because as soon as you know how to actually spark that kind of conversational interest in a two-way communication, collaborative communication, they just open up and they just want to talk forever, because what they are doing now when they're talking about what they think about things is that the chemical reaction in their brain is spiking so much that this is probably one of the most pleasurable things they can do in general in their life, talking about themselves and what they mean about things. So yeah,
cool.
That's why they're talking so much.
Cool.
That's exactly. But that's, you know, food and, you know, like architecture and so on. It's amazing, but I wouldn't like to live there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you still seem quite satisfied of having been there.
Of course, yeah. It's really, I think it
Quite
was
exotic, right?
Yeah.
What you have here.
Yeah.
I cannot say. I have never been to any Asian country, but actually next year we are planning to go to Japan as well with my husband. But not only to Tokyo, we want to like see a bit of the country. But let's see. I believe like what you say is like typical what I can imagine about Japan, right? Like crowd, nice food, totally different architecture to what we have in Europe. So.
Also, it's like Tokyo is
Yeah.
such a modern city, yeah. Like
modern, okay.
trains and underground is like so super fast, like so well organized. So it's something, you know, nice.
What about English there? Is it easy to speak English with people?
It depends on the age group, basically. It's almost like Poland, to be honest.
Poland is the same. Like if you talk to older people, they don't speak English. I feel
No,
like,
but for people that are like under 30, I think it's like most of the time, people that are like maybe 35, 40 plus, they tend to not. It's more like a 50-50 then.
Yeah.
But when it comes to people that are under 35, I mean, almost everyone speaks English, at least in Virginia. I think it's the same here in Warsaw, yeah?
Yeah.
What are the things here?
Okay, so the thing is that when I'm speaking, as you can see, when I'm actually saying something, it's more like me and them are talking about them.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm coming in with what I think about things in their world.
Okay.
So that is also one of the keys, like in order to create that kind of atmosphere where we're going to have an amazing conversation is when the guy and the girl are talking about her.
Right.
So that is one of the key. And also I want to mention is like for the untrained ear, the only thing that we hear now is like, oh, normal conversation.
Yeah.
But for trained ear, for someone who's schooled in conversation and people that come from the academic communication faculty, that would definitely hear what I'm leaning to, how I actually carry on with the conversation.
Okay,
so it's very schooled.
And what's the intent here? The intent is to become to get onto a deeper level with them.
Yeah, but there's one word that is the most important word that you can think about in order to establish any kind of a relationship, and that is connection.
Yes.
So I creating a connection first before anything else really comes into play.
Okay.
So we have to create connection, a genuine connection, before we actually move on with other things, because connection brings two things: emotional safety, feeling for the girl, and trust. And that is one of the most important things to think about.
Okay, cool.
Oh, the reason why I chose to live in Virginia is because
so we'll just move on slightly because there's some
I heard that like quite a lot of
little bit of personal information there.
Tri-city like Gdynia or Gdańsk or Sopot because of studying. It's like also very close, so it's like easy to connect between Sweden and Gdynia, right?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even say that better myself. I mean, you're very well spoken, sort of. You have this, verbal ability to actually express things.
Yeah,
That's good.
I think
What's any sort of thoughts on this? Because obviously she is she wasn't the girl that you were interested in, but also she said she's married. So, but you're sort of still engaging her. You're kind of complimenting her. What's the thinking there? Is it just to
one of the thing is like when you're talking with a group of girls, two of them, we have to like having a very situational, comfortable calibration of everyone is in here and talking about things. So if I would just turn on and talk, like turn my share and just talking about the girl I'm interested in, that will also be very uncalibrated.
Yeah.
So I have to like talk with both of them, but leaning more to the girl I'm interested in and seek clarification a little bit more about things and ask her what she think about things more than the girl on the right that has a husband. So that is actually her sister as well. So it's very important to keep the balance. And also it's like it also shows that you have an ability to be social calibrated in terms of what can I say, in terms of being emotional intelligent.
Okay.
And that is also one thing that's very important, because this is not only a friend, this is your sister as well. So you must be able to have the power of carrying on with the conversation with two people.
Yes.
And one of the best things to do that is to make them talk about what they think about things.
Yes.
You just can't stop talking about what they think about things. And that is just the key with it.
Cool.
Like the reason why as well in Germany.
You have a very intelligent fluency in your in your way of talking. You too, actually.
Very much, likewise.
From Sweden, you mentioned you are from Sweden, but which city? Stockholm?
No, Göteborg. Gothenburg.
Gothenburg.
Göteborg, yeah, Göteborg. Gothenburg.
Okay, so like the Stockholm and Gothenburg, like the most common, right?
Yeah, it's almost like Krakow and Warsaw. And you know what? What does Krakow people think about Warsaw people? And the opposite is the same thing as Gothenburg and Stockholm.
I think
Yes, it's like conflict.
Exactly. But did you realize that like Warsavians have no problem with Krakowians, but other way around, they are sometimes there is some tension, like from Krakow to Warsaw, but it's not other way around. We don't mind Krakow, we love it actually.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a big fan, honestly, but I don't have.
You don't mind them?
No, I don't mind. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What brought you to Warsaw then?
Oh, I'm here actually as sort of a business trip, because I have passion for doing things that goes beyond the actual work on the ship and that area. So I'm actually doing. I'm what can I say? I'm a consultant as well, communication consultant. For businesses. So I'm a corporate.
Which is true.
Which is true.
Communication consultant.
Okay.
And I got a lot of connection also based on my work previously. So yeah.
Okay.
Is it your first time in Warsaw?
I've been here. This is my second time actually, but I really have to. I never experienced Warsaw like in the nightlife thing and going to bars and this. Always have been during the day and back.
Experience like restaurants, bars, like weekend for a week, so you can see like how the city is working really. But it's really like the Monday first with the bars and they go everywhere.
Sure,
So if you could stay until weekends, I would try it with other bars. And it's not the best one, but I think they all want to right?
How long is it?
No, I want to stay for exactly 1 week now. That's the plan. So, but I will see if I want to extend my stay.
Okay.
But I have to go back to my friend soon. Anyway,
I can give you some recommendations.
how about this one? I guess you have WhatsApp or Instagram. So let's exchange this one and then keep in contact, because I think you both are really, really nice.
Yeah, sure.
And before we do that, let me introduce myself. I'm Michael.
So it's interesting because guys will often they think that the second thing that they say has to be introducing themselves and exchanging their names. And actually, that's not the case at all. You've been talking for nearly 10 minutes. And this is the first time you actually brought your names into it.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, really.
Yeah. What I can say about this part is...
sometimes you do like to get the name earlier, though.
Yeah, I mean, on the day game approaches, most of the time I like to get the name out of the power of actually mentioning her name during the conversations. But I don't see the need here. I mean, if I look at them, I mean, they were very curious about telling me what they think about things right on the bat, and I didn't need to introduce myself in that way immediately. So, and also in this kind of scenario, it's not really bringing any value to just start asking them, what is your name, because I told them straight on the beginning, I just want to be there for a short time. I'm curious about things, but now is really the time to like properly introduce yourself and move things further. Yeah.
Paulina? Pati, Patricia, yes, Pati. Okay, Michael, nice to meet you. So let's walk. Okay, I have the best Instagram name ever, and that is Michael in Poland.
Are you maybe a YouTuber as well at the same time?
No, I'm not a YouTuber.
Okay.
I want to be maybe one day, but I'm not yet.
Michael?
Yeah, in Poland.
Okay.
It's such a great name, isn't it? Yeah, you see, that's me. Yeah, and I don't have much text. I don't have much picture, but like born in Sweden, but living in amazing Poland. Yeah, Gdynia.
Okay, I will follow you. You can follow me.
Thank you so much for the tip, and really, I have a wonderful time speaking with you.
So here it's interesting that you're basically getting the girl with the stripy tops details, aren't you? You're exchanging the details with her. So even though it's been this kind of very social thing and there's the three of them, it's clear that that's the one that you're now.
Absolutely, and she knows about it as well.
Yes,
it's no question. And there's other things that is very hard to see from this video, but is how I pause, how I look at the girl, and how I bring the eye contact, and that's important.
So the sub communication here is that you're interested and you're exchanging the details for that reason.
Absolutely.
But obviously on the surface that's maybe not visible, particularly because obviously she's got our back to us, so we can't see the eye contact. But,
but the eye contact comes from the communication tools that we are actually using here. For example, like the effective pause. So if she explains something about whatever she thinks about things, I just pause, look her in the eye, and using that kind of effective pause to create the polarization tension between me and her without saying a word, actually.
And you were creating more tension with the girl in the stripy top than the other one. So with the other one, it was more sort of politeness and nice conversation. But with the other one, there's this underlying tension that you were creating. But it's very interesting because on the surface, as you say, it looks like a very normal conversation. But ultimately, what you're doing is what any approach you need to do, which is go in, you introduce yourself, you create some vibe, and then you get the contact details, which is exactly what you've done, but it's very under the radar.
And I can tell you directly, it's like when it comes to creating the connection, this is how to do it.
Okay.
I mean, we need to create connection before we actually move on with things. If you want to optimize your strategy, so that is exactly what we do. And the number one skills here is actually to make them start telling you what to think about things, and
that's the key thing.
Yeah, right? That's the key thing, and it's not something that you can take for granted. You have to have, a certain framework and a certain mindset that you have to work over and over again until you really have this one in your spinal core. It's not until then that you actually can make it part of yourself, and then it becomes a very natural part of yourself of being this mega genuine person. But this is a trained skill, really.
Okay.
You guys, and I hope we'll meet you soon. So I give you a small.
Yeah. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
have a good time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you. All right, bye. Have a great evening now.
Great. Okay. So that is so that's interesting. You see, she's looking. I noticed as well when you said goodbye, you kind of like rubbed her on the back slightly, and she's now looking back, as you can see, the guys can see there.
Yeah, and that is very, very good for planting the date, basically. That I could have with her if I wanted to.
Yeah, so, absolutely. So, any sort of overall thoughts about that, or any points that we wanted to just emphasize before we finish?
I just want to emphasize the power of connection. To start with the power of connection, because according to studies and with the neuroscience that I have been collaborating with, they are very clear about one thing, and that is like the number one thing when it comes to creating relationship is connection first, and because connection brings emotional safety and trust within someone. And once that one is established, then other things can really sink in, like being playful, being sexual, being
and
leader
also
of men, etc.
in a situation like that, it's not really. I mean, I suppose you could be a bit more potential. I mean, it's not really appropriate to be super flirtatious because she's sitting there with her sister.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's a Monday night, and it's kind of just not the right time for that.
No.
But what you have done is you've walked away with contact details. Did you message her out of interest or?
Yes, of course I did. And,
Yeah.
and got the reply instantly. The funny thing is, like, she messaged me first, actually. So.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
because you'd added each other. Good stuff. Okay, well, look, guys, if you've been inspired by this, and I really hope you have, and you'd like to talk to myself and Dr. Silk about how you can incorporate this method into your own dating life, then all you need to do is get in touch. So you can drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, and we can get on a call and we can discuss how we can help you. I've also got a calendar link below as well, so you can book a free 15-minute call and we can talk about it then. Yeah, thanks ever so much for the breakdown, man. It's been super useful, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.